Alright guys, prospect update time. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the Vancouver Canucks prospect pipeline and giving an update on all the core prospects that the Canucks have. The Canucks are actually a pretty interesting team because, the Canucks still have such a fantastic crop of prospects, even when you consider that all the major prospects over the years, guys like Demko, Pedersen, Besser, Hughes, they're all part of the Canucks lineup, and even with that being said, the Canucks still have a great prospect pipeline. And I'd actually still consider the Canucks to have one of the better prospect pipelines in the whole NHL. Lots of Canucks fans hate good old Jimbo Benning, but you know what? You can't really hate his drafting. He brought us guys like Hughes, Besser, Pedersen. You know what? I'm going to trust the process for the time being. Alright, we'll start this prospect off with our Russian superstar, Vasily Podkolzin. Now, Podkolzin, so far this season, he's kind of been having a rough time. I'm gonna be honest. He started in the KHL for SKA St. Petersburg, and he's put up 0 points in his first 10 games. However, just hold up. He was getting absolutely no opportunity in the KHL. And if you guys aren't aware, the KHL, of course, is kind of considered the second best league in the whole world, besides the NHL. So it's definitely amazing competition. He was playing a fourth line role, averaging 5 or less minutes per game. And Podkolzin honestly wasn't in any position to succeed. And considering that Podkolzin is more of that skill guy, of course he does have a big motor, but he wants to be. You want him to be developing his skill. You want him to be playing meaningful minutes if he's not playing in the NHL or within our farm system. So definitely very disappointing. So once again, Podkolzin has kind of been bouncing around leagues. He went down to the MHL. He put up 4 points in his first 2 games. Again, if you guys aren't aware, the MHL is more of it's the junior league in Russia. So comparable to, I guess, like the CHL. Maybe not the same level of competition, but definitely not bad competition. However, he has ended up in the VHL. And so far this season, he's put up 7 points in 11 games. So actually not bad production at all. In the VHL, sorry that we're breaking down so many leagues here, but the VHL is comparable to the AHL. It's kind of the farm team to the KHL. Still a lot of great hockey being played in the VHL, so definitely still a good place to develop. And once again, you know what? It's kind of sad. This was kind of the same story we saw last year with Podkolzin. He was bounced around. His production can be steady. However, he's ended up in the VHL and his production has been getting better. So hopefully Podkolzin gets more consistent ice time in one place and he develops chemistry with one team instead of being bounced around, including international teams, basically 4 teams all at once. Imagine trying to create line chemistry with 4 different teams rotating you around, playing 20 minutes in the MHL, playing 14 minutes in the VHL, and then playing 5 minutes in the KHL. It's just not a great look. And also keep in mind, guys, the KHL is a very, very hard league to score in. One of the toughest leagues in the world, if not the toughest. When Ovi was drafted, he had 13 goals in his draft plus 1 year. So not even the year he got drafted, the year after, he had 13 goals, and the next season, Ovi scored 50 in the NHL. So even though his point production isn't amazing so far, keep that in mind. Leagues aren't always great comparables to each other in terms of scoring. This whole situation kind of makes me think I wish Podkolzin was in our AHL system, at least developing, playing proper minutes where we know he's getting the right development. But this was the risk we took when we drafted him at number 10. It's also why many teams didn't want to deal with this whole situation, and he slid from the top 3 all the way to number 10. But anyways, guys, there's Podkolzin. Not terrible, but a bit concerning. Let me know what you guys think down below about Podkolzin. Next prospect, Nils Hoglander. Hoglander was, of course, our second-round pick from the 2019 NHL Draft. But keep in mind, guys, this second-round pick from the 2019 NHL Draft isn't just any regular second-round pick. This second-round pick is comparable to most first-round picks from previous drafts. And Nils Hoglander is easily someone I would consider to be, first-round pick talent. So far this season, Hoglander has been developing really well. He put up 2 goals and 1 assist in his first 7 SHL games. SHL is the top-ranked league in Sweden, and probably considered the 3rd, 4th best league in the world, or I guess the second best league in the world outside of the NHL or North America. He's playing alongside a Dominic Bach, who was the former first-round pick from the Hurricanes. However, Nils Hoglander is a player who plays with a lot of grit. He's highly skilled, very, very skilled guy. Obviously, his athleticism is off the charts, but he plays with a lot of grit. And with that being said, he delivered a nasty elbow, resulting in a 5-game suspension. So, of course, he hasn't been playing for the past like 2 weeks now because of the suspension. The SHL doesn't play nearly as many games as the NHL. So definitely, Hoglander is definitely a very intriguing prospect. He's someone I'm definitely super excited about. And don't take this the wrong way, but he kind of reminds me, he's kind of reminiscent of like a Brad Marchand. Not to say he's dirty. I mean, that elbow is definitely dirty, but they are both smaller framed, highly skilled players with a lot of, I guess, just unexpected strength and grit. And Hoglander is definitely, that type of guy. Now, what I will say is if he turns out to be anything like Brad Marchand, we are happy campers. Even though we might not like Brad Marchand is a great player. Nils Hoglander, again, developing great. And Nils Hoglander is also someone who's considered like NHL ready. I'd expect him to be in the AHL next year, if not get some games in the NHL, because he's been developing great. His strength, his skill, his skating, everything's already up to par. So he's basically getting some extra seasoning in Sweden. Next prospect, Cole Lind. I'm happy to say, but Cole Lind has been developing very, very well this year so far. Last season, lots of people were getting a bit concerned because his production wasn't necessarily up to par. He didn't fully transition well. He dominated in the Kelowna Rockets franchise organization, and then when he got to the AHL, it just didn't translate, 100%. However, this season is a completely different story. So far this season, he has 6 assists, 1 goal, 7 points in his first 5 games. He's playing a lot of meaningful minutes on this great Utica Comets team. In my opinion, I never gave up on Lind. Lind, to me, is still a potential top 6 guy, and it's great to see him get off to a much better start. If you guys have the time, go check out some of the Utica Comets highlights. Cole Lind has, from what I've seen, from those highlights, I watched some Utica Comets games, but, he has great vision. He has a really good shot, and he has really good playmaking ability, so hopefully, one day this can translate to a top 6 forward for us. Juolevi so far this season has 3 points in his first 5 games. Juolevi this season, he's been skating exceptionally well considering he's just recovering from ACL surgery. If you guys didn't know, I've torn my ACL many times, and it's definitely not an easy process. A lot of people don't really realize just how detrimental ACL injury can be. His transition game has been excellent. I've been seeing him just do some long bombs, great passing, great vision. His skating, again, looks pretty good. And he actually looks pretty close to being an NHL-ready defenseman. So I guess we'll see. People are honestly just a bit too quick to write up prospects. Juolevi may not ever become that, elite top 2 defenseman that the top 5 pick pedigree might come with. But if he develops into a solid top 4 puck-moving defenseman with some more offensive upside, it's definitely not a bad thing. He actually really reminds me of Alex Edler, which definitely would not be the worst scenario. So hopefully Juolevi plays some meaningful games, and perhaps we can see him sometime in a Canucks uniform this season. Not for a long period of time here. I doubt he'll get more than 5 games in, but that would be nice to see him play some games in the NHL. Next prospect, Michael DiPietro. He's been playing great. So, of course, this is his first season with the Utica Comets, and in his first 2 professional starts, he's won both games. Now, again, the Utica Comets are a much better team, but it is good to see that DiPietro is transitioning much better, considering that he got absolutely just slaughtered in his first NHL game. I mean, to be fair, it was against the San Jose Sharks, and to be fair, we did have Derek Pouliot and Goodbranson and Biega on the ice that game, so not saying that DiPietro is going to be a bust here, but he's playing fantastic. Jonah Gadjevich. So Jonah Gadjevich is a bit interesting. He was obviously a second-round pick from the Elias Pettersson draft. He's had some trouble transitioning into the AHL, just like Cole Lind did. He's been having a lot of issues with foot speed, and so far this season he has 1 goal in his first 3 games. Jonah Gadjevich is a potential power forward goal scorer, a player that the Canucks could definitely use. He's been healthy scratched multiple times this season already, so hopefully Jonah Gadjevich can turn it around. Next, let's look at some NCAA college hockey prospects. William Lockwood. William Lockwood is now the captain of the University of Michigan. He has 1 goal in his first 4 games. On a weaker roster though, especially considering that Quinn Hughes is now off the team. There are some rumors that Lockwood is looking into the free agency route, that he's not necessarily a lock to sign with the Canucks. However, the Quinn Hughes connection does help, so hopefully, we can get a deal done with Lockwood. He's been a really solid player in the NCAA so far, his NCAA career, and definitely not a bad signing if we can get him done. Tyler Madden. Tyler Madden is definitely a very intriguing prospect. He had a great freshman season last year, putting up 28 points in 36 NCAA games, which is fantastic numbers. And then he also had a really good World Junior Tournament. So far this season, he has 2 goals in 4 games, and he should continue to produce. You know, he's a highly skilled player, and definitely one I'm excited to see in the World Juniors once again. Next, we have Jack Rathbone. Jack Rathbone is a defenseman. He was drafted in the 4th round in 2017, and he's definitely one of our more dark horse prospects. He's a skilled, smaller frame, left-handed defenseman with a lot of offensive upside. Last season, he was paired with Adam Fox. Adam Fox is an exceptional offensive defenseman, so his points were definitely a bit inflated. But with that being said, you know, I can't imagine his production to slow down too much. And if he can keep producing, keep developing, he can definitely be a huge steal from the 4th round. He hasn't played a single game yet this season, but last season he put up 22 points in 33 games in his first NCAA season, which is honestly just great numbers. In the WHL, we have our right-handed defenseman, Jett Woo. And if you guys are familiar with me, I'm a big fan of Jett Woo. He is a physical, highly coveted right-handed defenseman who has some offensive upside. And to be honest, I think a good comparable is like a Matt Dumba. I'm not going to say his ceiling is going to be like Matt Dumba's ceiling, but definitely a very reminiscent play style. And having a right-handed physical defenseman who has offensive upside is definitely a very good thing to have, you know, in today's game. It's very rare, and it's great to have him part of our roster. Woo had 66 points in 62 games last season for the Moose Jaw Warriors, so over a point per game as that more physical defenseman. He's more of like a physical defensive defenseman, yet, you know, great production last year, and so far this season he has 4 points in his first 9 games playing with the Calgary Hitmen. Now keep in mind, Woo has spent his whole entire WHL career for the Moose Jaw Warriors, and he just got traded to the Calgary Hitmen, so hopefully his transition gets better, he gets more adjusted, and we see another big year out of Jett Woo. Next, we have Linus Karlsson, who we received in return for Jonathan Dahlin. Karlsson is a 3rd round pick out of 2018, who's currently playing in Sweden in Allsvenskan. He has 5 points in 11 games. Not great production by any means, but not terrible. I mean, he's kind of been struggling to replicate that more offensive dominance he saw in his junior career. But we'll keep an eye on Karlsson. Not an NHL lock by any means, but definitely an interesting pickup. And next we have Ethan Keppen, a pretty interesting pick from the 2019 NHL draft. We got him in the 4th round, but keep in mind this 2019 draft was very deep. So far this season he has 8 points in 10 OHL games. Up next in WHL we have Carson Foch. Not entirely sure how to pronounce that. He was a 5th round pick from the 2019 NHL draft, and he's already put up 13 points, some highlight reel goals in his first 8 WHL games this year, playing alongside of Jett Woo with the Calgary Hitmen. Alright guys, there's my breakdown of all the Vancouver Canucks notable prospects. Definitely let me know who you are most excited for down below. Personally, I think I'm still most excited about Nils Hoglander. I love the type of game he has. That more gritty game. Podkolzin obviously is great. Tyler Madden. But the Vancouver Canucks still have a great prospect depth. And also another thing to keep in mind is we are going to see so many prospects playing this year in the World Juniors. Obviously, Hoglander, Madden, Podkolzin. It's going to be so fun to watch. It's going to be so fun to watch Podkolzin hopefully just dominate the World Juniors. Anyways, boys, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys later.